TIL that squirting is mostly just urine. A 2015 study found that all their participants showed noticeable bladder filling before squirting through ultrasonographic bladder monitoring, and then demonstrated that their bladders were empty post-squirting. The theory is that the body rushes water through the urinary tract. It goes through the urinary tract, but it doesn't go through all the same filtering and stuff that urine normally does. So it's actually mostly just water. Women can confirm that even if they pee right before sex, they still can pee again right after. The reason is this prevents UTIs. So if you define urine as water that went through the urinary tract, then yes, it's urine. But if you define urine by its ammonia smell, color, etc., then no, it's mostly water. The fact that the bladder fills does not necessarily mean it's urine. There is definitely urine in the ejaculate, just not at the concentration you're suggesting. The fluid released during squirting is essentially watered down urine, sometimes with a bit of ejaculate in it. Female ejaculate contains some of the same components as semen. This includes enzymes, prostate-specific antigen and prostatic acid phosphatase. It also contains small amounts of creatinine and urea, urine's primary components. If the bladder rapidly fills during intense sexual arousal, doesn't that indicate it's a bit different from normal urine that accumulates throughout the day? If anything, this just seems to be more of a confirmation of squirting as a direct reaction to sexual stimulation rather than incontinence or voluntary peeing, which is what is typically claimed. To me, the chemical makeup of the liquid never mattered, it's more if it's a genuine involuntary reaction to sexual arousal. You just learned that today? I read about that years ago. You've never had anyone squirt on you, or you've never squirted on anyone, have you? What I want to know is, did the woman really lose control because the sex was that good, or was she just pissing me? Can anybody speak to that? Someone who has a piss kink, explain the piss kink. I don't get it. I don't mind that some people have a piss kink, I just want to learn something today. I wonder what people who didn't think it's urine thought it is. Like, what organ in the female body holds several hundred milliliters of clear fluid ready to be launched from the vagina? I mean, it's gotta come from somewhere, right? There'd have to be a bladder-like organ directly connected to the outlet that serves to hold the substantial amount of fluid. And what had happened with this fluid for women who don't squirt? You can also just experience it until, why this was such a big mystery. Years ago I fooled around with a girl, and while she was on top, our anatomies just clicked and she squirted repeatedly. It was hot as hell, but it reeked of urine, and there is no way like 6 separate squirts could just generate out of nowhere. Where the fluid had been on my groin and stomach also began to itch as it dried like he does. Honestly, anyone that's been with a squirter can tell you that. Afterwards everything smells like piss. If you're unlucky enough not to have waterproof sheets, it'll even stain yellow depending on your hydration. It's also not that surprising since urinary incontinence is pretty common for women, especially during arousal. Not that I care. Urine is only ever mostly urine. It's full of impurities, that's part of the point of pissing. Would you believe people used to cite this study to claim squirt isn't pee? I've argued about this so many times, as the ignorant asshole who doesn't understand female anatomy. But I'm totally fucking right, squirt is pee. I had sex with a squirter once long ago. She squirted all over the place during the act. She said she no longer had the urge to pee afterwards, and the sheets most definitely had a weak, but undeniably pee assured her to them. I mean, yeah, in the act it's arousing to know you made her squirt, but it really is piss. In completely unrelated news, it has been reported that most love scenes in porn are actually shot by adult actors that are not really in love, and stepmom steps in movies are shot with women who are not actually their stepmoms. If we can't believe what we watch in porn, what can we believe? Anyone remotely familiar with lady bits should know this already. A vagina can't shoot a stream of liquid out of it, but a urethra sure can. And the urethra is connected to the bladder. And the bladder is the body's place to store what again? Oh, that's right. Urine. Did they test samples? There's a clear difference in texture, smell, and color between the two. It passes through the same urethra, so obviously some urine is present, but it is definitely not just urine. Most sodas beverages are mostly water, but not called water. So strange how a lot of people are absolutely in the squirt isn't pee bro camp. So much so that they will even get into arguments and even fights. Like, dude, it's great you can get a chick that excited, but she's peeing lol. My roommate in college had a girl he had over a few times who upon having sex would coat the bed several times over with her squirting, and she'd do it multiple times per session. I can't believe she had that much piss in her. Shows you the state of our current educational system. We got people out there thinking women have a special, unique organ that they excrete large volumes of liquid anytime a fedora tipping, mall lady alpha walks by. It's also the dumbest party trick ever to come into sexuality. Women all over the internet are splashing their piss all over with dildos while holding this look of wide-mouthed surprise that's just so contrived. For every single person in this thread calling bullshit, that it's definitely not piss. Show me the organ in a woman's body that can hold that much fluid that isn't the bladder. Go ahead. I'll wait. I worked on Interview with a Porn Star back when Howard Stern had his own TV deal. I asked one of the well-known porn stars if she had trade secrets and she said squirting is just piss. Imagine going to a study to furiously masturbate yourself to a squirting orgasm, getting your bladder scanned, all to collect $50 and a free lunch. Sign me up. I don't even have a pussy. It's a piss kink with better marketing. I ain't link shaming, you do. As long as it's between 2 or more consenting adults. Or one person in a hopefully easy to clear area. Everyone defending squirting, nah bro, it's definitely not pee. My GF squirted and it was clear and had no smell. Guess what? After 15 beers I pee pure clear spring water. Still piss. How does everyone in the world not know by now that it's a mixture of urine and juices? It was always the only thing that made sense, lol. And girls doing it in porn are just peeing. Can someone report this to our sex? A lot of people seem to think there's a magic source of gallons of lady whack that just manifests when a woman is suitably excited. It's piss. I would have loved to see the ad for this study. We will pay you $500 to come in and squirt, not on us, we just want to watch you squirt. It's for medical research. Seriously, you just had to put that mostly in there. It's all piss, you ain't fooling anyone. The little bits of residual vaginal lubrication that get mixed in don't mean fuck all. 99 piss, 1 pussy juice. You don't have to be a doctor to look at an anatomy diagram and see that the bladder is the only organ that can hold that much volume. Just as an aside, please stop trying to recreate production porn, y'all. It's shadows on the cave wall. The created myths by which the people sleep, angry man. To quote the top comment the last time this was reposted, yes, and it feels amazing. X200B. Dicks and vaginas don't have taste buds, who cares? It's always funny seeing people try to deny it's piss just because they have a stigma with piss play. Science doesn't give a fuck about your stigmas. Anyone who's been blasted in the face with it over and over could have told you that. XD, hey, I think you need to cut down on the Mountain Dew. What else did people think this fluid was? There's some hidden magic gland that has eluded anatomists for centuries that creates orgasm juice. Women can come so hard that they piss and or shit themselves. I don't understand why people thought that squirting was not pissing. I mean, if the squirting comes out of the urethra, what the fuck else could it have been? FFS, a study needed to be made over this? Do people actually think women have a special, giant fluid sac hidden in their bodies? Of course it's pee. Always has been. I wonder how many people complaining about the discourse have actually had sex, let alone managed to make a girl squirt, lol. They use blue dye inserted into the bladder to confirm too. Imagine needing money and the way you get it is by letting a bunch of scientists give you an orgasm. Where do I sign up? Well, now I guess the embarrassing "I think I peed on you" statement becomes "oh honey, I just squirted. Thanks science." Yeah, obviously. I don't understand how people thought women evolved some new mysterious organ sometime around 2010. At this point, if you didn't think this was true before reading this, you are too young to know about the topic. I'm still not convinced. We'll need to conduct more online research, by carefully examining the video evidence. Well yeah. Are there people that really believe it isn't? My wife squirts and I can promise you it's urine. Well, full credit goes out to the women who managed to orgasm in clinical conditions, and orgasm with style. What is the difference between a chickpea and a garbanzo bean? I've never had a garbanzo bean on my face. Scientific study finds thing we all pretty much knew to be true for years is my favorite genre of post. I refuse to believe anyone was confused about this. And deeply amused that it lead to an actual study. Urine without uric acid, the stuff that makes urine smell like urine, is not urine. It's just fluid. My favorite part of Squirtius is when she yelled at squirting time and squirted all over those guys. Who cares? If she is having such a good time that she uncontrollably pisses on me, I'm cool with that. I know Coca-Cola isn't great for me either, but I'll still be drinking it like my life depends on it. So what's the difference between a chickpea and a fava bean? I never had a fava bean on my face. I'm sorry, was this somehow unknown to people? What did you guys think was being squirted? People sometimes get really offended by this, like I don't pee during sex. Yeah, you do. Yep, There's a Reddit post about how he diagnosed diabetes after tasting a girl's squirt. Why is this question so much? Test the liquid. It's piss. Stop trying to make shit up. I took a few shots to the face and can for sure say it tasted and smelled like piss. Well, of course it comes from the bladder filling. Squirt comes out of the urethra. Little asparagus and a B vitamin with dinner should settle this once and for all. Yes, but there is a huge difference in making a woman squirt versus getting peed on. I feel like comparing samples of the two things would be an easier experiment. This isn't news to anyone, there's literally nowhere else it could come from. If she pisses involuntarily from coming so hard, that's a win in my book. Eating asparagus would have solved this question way sooner and cheaper. Armed with this knowledge, I hope my experience of the event increases. Tell me why my mind immediately went to the Pokemon, Squirtle. Hi, gotta save this link for the next time someone on our sex is in denial. Been trying to tell 'em this shit for years. They won't hear you. Niggas getting paid to conduct the scientific method on squirting. How does one become a pile in such studies? Asking for a friend. Did she really orgasm or did she just want to pee in my mouth? Oh god, I've let people do it on my face. My beautiful face. TIL gushing is a searchable keyword at PubMed. For science. Been banned from our sex because of this. Try telling them. If you think women actually ejaculate, you're in for a surprise. Howard Stern had it tested by a lab and it's death just urine. No y and und or st and its spclf fluid and not urine. I always thought that squirters were taking the piss. I've been getting downvoted for years for saying this. In other news, scientists determine that ice is cold. I am shocked you could knock me over with a feather. Who the fuck thought it was anything else but piss?